Assalamu alaikum students, this is Farwa Batul, your O-level computer science instructor, and welcome to another video of chapter number 8 programming. We are done with count control loops using Python as my programming language and Visual Basic. Now in this video I'm going to talk about Java. Yes, in Java I can use a count control loop using a for loop, and remember that the iterations must be fixed. You exactly know that how many times your code is going to run. Iterations are fixed. Let me give you an example. For example, I want to print my name 5 times. So I exactly know that my code is going to run 5 times. This is what we call fixed iterations. Now let me quickly move towards the syntax for Java. First, you have to use the for keyword. Inside for, you have brackets, the round brackets, and inside the round bracket the first thing you have to do is to initiate a counter variable to 1. You can initiate it from any value, but practically we do it from 1. The next thing is to specify the condition for exiting the loop. So the counter must be less than equals 10. It is actually the condition that will tell you that how many times the loop is going to iterate. So this is, if this condition is true, you are going to iterate. When the condition becomes false, you will get out of the loop. The next thing is to increment the value of counter. So you will just write down counter equals counter plus 1. Okay. Here, this thing actually means that for every iteration, the counter value is going to increment. So if it is 1 for the first iteration, then for the second it becomes 1 plus 1, 2. For the third it becomes 2 plus 1, 3. For the fourth iteration it becomes 4 plus 1, 5. It will increment by 1 since you have written counter plus 1. Whatever the value of counter is, it will be incremented by 1 for the next iteration. Okay, so this is how you have to do the working inside your for loop. Now, you have to use the curly brackets to specify the line of code that actually is going to iterate. Inside the for loop, let me write down an output statement system dot out dot println. That is your output statement that helps you to display something on the screen. And let's just display the value of counter on the screen. Okay, so I'm just specifying the variable name counter. Now, on the next side, I will show you that what is going to be the output for this code. Okay, so let me tell you the output on the other side, how this code is going to work. Okay, so the first time there will be a variable counter, and inside the counter you have initiated it with a value 1. So there will be 1 in the variable. Now for 1, you are going to see the condition. The next, this is the first thing that will work. The next thing, number 2, that you are going to check for the condition. So condition is counter is less than equals to 10. The counter value is 1. So 1 is less than equals to 10. Yes, the condition is true. When the condition is true, you are going inside the loop. Inside the loop, it's written system.out.println, and here you have to display the value of counter. So look at the value. It is 1. So in the first iteration, 1 will be printed on your screen. Now once the iteration is done, the third thing to be done is, actually it is the fourth thing, because the third thing is this one. Inside the loop, whatever you will write is going to display. Okay, the fourth thing here is your increment the value of counter. So if it is 1, counter plus 1 means that the counter value is 1. 1 plus 1 becomes 2. So 2 will be the new value for counter. It will be stored 2 in the variable counter. Now, see the condition again. Once you have incremented the counter value, you will check the condition again. So here the counter is 2 now. 2 is the less than equals 10. The condition is true. You will go inside the loop when the condition is true and print the value of counter. So for the second iteration, the counter value becomes 2. Now, once you are done with the code, then you will increment your counter value. So this time the counter was 2. 2 plus 1 becomes 3. So 3 is going to be your new counter value. Write down 3 here. Now check for the condition. 3 is less than equals 10. So the condition is true. You will again go inside the loop for iteration. So you will print the new value for counter, that is 3. The third iteration, 3 will be seen on your screen. Now for the fourth iteration, you have to first increment the counter value. Let's make it 4. Remember that every time the counter is going to increment by 1 once you do your previous iteration. So it becomes 3 plus 1, 4. Okay, so 4 will be your new value for counter, and when you will check your condition, 4 less than equals 10, it is true. So 4 is going to be displayed on your screen. So you will see in the fourth iteration, 4 will be on your screen. Now for the next iteration, first you have to increment your counter value. So it is 4 plus 1 equals 5. So 5 will be stored in your counter variable. Then you will check for your condition. Condition will be 5 less than equals 10. That is true. When the condition becomes true, you go inside your loop and you will print the value for counter for the fifth iteration. That's 5. Now, next you have to increment your counter value once you are done with the iteration. So this time 5 plus 1 becomes 6. 6 is going to be your new counter value. You will check for the condition. Since 6 is less than equals 10, that is true. So you will go and print the counter value for your sixth iteration. So you will see 6 on the screen. Next, again, do the same. Increment the counter by 1. So it becomes 6 plus 1, 7. 7 will be your new counter value. So we will make it 7. And we will check for the condition now. 7 less than equals 10. So the condition is true. We will print 7 on the screen. That's your counter value for seventh iteration. Now for the next iteration, increment the counter first. 7 plus 1 becomes 8. So this time 8 is going to store in your counter, and when you see the condition 8 less than equals 10, it is valid. So in the 8th iteration, you will print 8 on your screen. And next, increment the counter by 1. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 is stored in the counter value, and when you check the condition, 9 is less than equals 10. So 9 will be printed on the screen since the condition is true. Now for the next iteration, increment the value of counter from 9 to 10. Now, when you see the condition, 10 is less than equals 10. The condition is true because here you have also written equals. So 10 equals 10 is true. You will go with your 10th iteration. In the 10th iteration, you will see 10 written on your screen. Now look at this. We are done with all of these 10 iterations. Now when you're going to increment your counter after that, so 10 plus 1 becomes 11. When you will save 11 in the counter value, now the condition will be checked. When you will see the condition, it becomes 11 less than equals 10. So this time in the 11th iteration, your condition becomes false. So when the condition becomes false, you are not going to have another iteration. So you will never go inside your loop. So this is how your output will look like 1 to 10. So you have printed all of your counter values that are incremented by 1. And your loop, your for loop is having 10 iterations, 1 till 10. Okay, so let's just make a little change here. Let me just increment the counter value by 2 instead of 1. So I will tell you that what will be the changes in my output. I'm just erasing the unnecessary data so it will be clear for me to specify or to make you understand everything. Okay, I'm just doing a little changes here. Instead of incrementing the counter value from 1, I'll increment it by 2. So counter plus 2. What will happen here? The first value is 1 for the counter. You will save 1 inside your counter. Now, let's start with this. First of all, integer counter equals 1. 1 is stored in the counter. You will check for the condition 1 is less than equals 10. It's true. You will go inside the for loop and print 1 for your first iteration. Okay. Now, you will increment the counter by 2. Incrementing by 2 means that if counter is 1, 1 plus 2 becomes 3. So 3 is going to be your new counter value. So let's have 3 in the counter. So let's check the condition now. 3 less than equals 10. That is true. When the condition is true, go inside the loop and print your counter value. So for the second iteration, the counter value is 3. Look at the value here stored in the counter. Now, once the iteration is done, you have to increment the counter value by 2. So this time it is 3. 3 plus 2 becomes 5. 5 is your new counter value. So write down 5 here. And when you check the condition, 5 less than equals 10. The condition is true. So you will go inside your loop and you will print the third value of counter, that is 5. This time it is 5. Now you will increment the counter value. 5 plus 2 becomes 7. When you will check for your condition, 7 is less than equals 10. That is true. So what you have to do, you have to, when the condition is true, go inside your loop. So for the fourth iteration, the value of counter becomes 7. So just look at this, that what is actually going on. Here the counter value is actually incrementing by 2. So every time it is being 2 is being added in its previous value. So now finally what will be done? 7 plus 2 becomes 9. So the next value for the fifth iteration is 9. So 9 will be stored in counter, and when you will check for the condition 9 less than equals 10, which is true. So when the condition is true for the fifth iteration, you will print 9 on your screen. Now it is very, very important that when you will increment for the sixth iteration, it is 9 plus 2. 9 plus 2 becomes 11. Whereas the counter range is set to 1 till 10. So when you will see the condition now, it says 11 less than equals 10. That is, this time the condition becomes false. When the condition is false, so there will be no more iterations. So remember that in this example, you are going to have only 5 iterations and the maximum value of counter goes till 9. So this happens when you are incrementing the counter more than 1. If you increment it by 2 or if you will increment it by 3, then you will have less than 5 iterations. So let me just quickly go ahead and see the Java Online compiler to run this code. Okay, here we go. I have already written everything that I just explained you. That's a simple for loop where the counter is started from 1, it goes till 10, less than equals 10, and the counter value is incremented by 1 for every iteration. And inside the for loop, you are printing your counter. So I hope that you know the output of this example. Since the counter is going from 1 till 10 every time, it is incremented by 1. So it is very simple. It must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there will be 10 iterations in total. Let me just quickly run this. I want to tell you that this is an online Java compiler. You can just go to Google and search for it. You can have a lot of examples for that. Okay, the code is already written by me because I wanted to save the time. Let me run this quickly. Okay, 12. No, it's not actually 12. It is 1, 2. 2 is just printed next to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is how the output comes. It is the number of iterations that you will have for this for loop, the 10 iterations. Now let me just quickly make it incremented by 2, counter plus 2. Let's run it and see the output. Okay, so look at this. Every time the counter value becomes plus 2. 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 2, 7, 7 plus 2, 9. Since 9 plus 2 is 11 and 11 is out of your range, so you will no more have 6th iteration. Now let me just make it 3. Okay, let's run and see the iterations. First one was 1. Then 1 plus 3 becomes 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. You are having only 4 iterations because in the 5th iteration, the counter value will become 10 plus 3, 13. So that's all. One more thing is that you can do something else. Instead of printing the counter value, let me just print my name 5 times. So let's suppose the range is 1 till 5. Make the changes, and inside your output statement just write down your name in quotations. Run the program. Look at this, my name is printed 5 times. So this is how you can do different things using for loop. Thank you so much for watching the video. Stay tuned, stay connected, and do not forget to subscribe the channel because we are going to do the condition controlled loops in the next video. Bye bye.